Everyone, this is just so wonderful. We're here, I mean, it's been a real trial getting into this area and to try and find you some signal. But here are the Matimba males. That is the red-headed one we had, red-headed one, Blondie, I think you called him. And his black-maned brother is close by too. And they've left their kill. I don't really understand why they would have. And they do seem to be in very good condition. They're fat, they're looking strong. They are substantially larger than the Birmingham boys. Really, I mean, they're a lot bigger. And now they've left their kill. I think they've either decided that they've sired sufficient cubs for them to be sort of satisfied with their lives. And here's the other one. This is a proper male lion. Look at him. Isn't he fantastic? I'm just going to quickly tell them that I've found them again. I relocated just to the north of the power lines. Good visual here. Affirmative. They came towards power lines. They're now just off power lines. One of them is static. Isn't that lovely? And in excellent condition. You can see not thin at all. They're fat, and they're not just fat from eating. I mean, they're fat from months and months of good eating. Full maned, full big black mane this fellow has. Yeah, FM. Now, Colleen, you're in Minnesota and you want to know how long a coalition of males survives. Well, it'll survive until one of them dies. Look at his hair. His name, that's why you called him Hairy Belly, of course. He's got hair on his beard extends almost like a Barbary lion down to the belly. Let's follow them. Unusual that they're moving, unusual that they've left the kill, unusual that lions in such incredible condition are seemingly without territory. They're almost nomadic, which is bizarre. And Blondie, I think, was he called Blondie? What did they call him? Ginger. It was Ginger and Hairy Belly. So Ginger has still got the same wound, that same weeping wound that he's always had on his right foot. It's still weeping, it's still raw and red, but it, doesn't seem to affect him. So I don't know, maybe these fellows have just decided that it's too hard, there are too many males around, and they're just going to live out their lives as bachelors and not fight for territory. And maybe that's, from their point of view, it's working. They're in excellent shape. From an evolutionary point of view, it's but I've got to tell you, they're a lot more conscious of the vehicles than I've ever seen them before. And they certainly have been, I wouldn't say running away from us, but every time we come near them, they do look up. They were on the move. There they are. Let me try and get into a decent position. We'll get you a one shot of both of them, then you can see the different colors. I'm sure some of you have never met these chaps before, and you can see the luscious locks of the black mane there of Hairy Belly, and the slightly less luscious locks of his brother Ginger. Now, what I would really like to see, Junior has been around here. I would love to see them meet up with him. That would be fascinating. So, you saw there, just watch your head there, Vimpy. You saw there, everyone, how they looked up at us, or the black man looked up at us. These lions don't normally do that. They normally don't. You can almost run them over before they'll react to you. A couple of other vehicles coming in here. But that's okay. I'll try and get you a shot of both of them. But the elephants have continued to make an astonishing amount of mess in the general vicinity. We go around this little bush here, and we'll get a good view. The big stump. Minzane kwalan. Ah. Tikuchachile. It's just, yeah, name. Yeah, tu So he's just saying there that they have, I'm going to stop here. They're reacting to the vehicles, you know. They're absolutely reacting to the vehicles. And he was just saying here that he has seen them give a little bit of a charge once or twice to the cars. I think that was probably earlier this morning. Now that is completely bizarre behavior for these two lions. We know them well. We know that they didn't used to do that at all. And it is purely a fact or function of the fact that they are threatened, that they don't have a territory, they are not confident anymore. Let's just watch this here. See how he's moving? He's trying to get away from the cars. It's so unusual to have to treat lions with kid gloves like this. There you can see on his foot, you can see that little wound still there. He's not limping at all. It's so odd. Hey, Jim? I'll just reverse a little bit. I'm not going to go any closer to them.
Reverse that gap there, you'll have a good shot.
Into that gap.
Where that dead stuff is lying.
Okay. I'm just picking the correct spot for us to get a decent view. I find this absolutely astounding. And I know that many of you are extremely excited to see these chaps again. I am too. I don't think they'll be around for long. But here they are. Is that all right? Now, the next time you see the Birmingham boys, and the next time you're impressed by their size and by the fullness of their manes, just cast your mind back to the sighting that we've had here. These two males, I would say, are about 20% heavier than those two Birmingham fellows. Their manes, certainly the black manes, are far fuller, which indicates in theory that they are much more filled with testosterone. These are two big male lions, and they're of course the sires to Junior. Junior is a very big fellow, is going to be a very big fellow. I'm assuming it's the black mane that is Junior's father, just given that he seems to be the more dominant of the two. But it could be the ginger. Well, the chitra chap has gone quite close to them now, and they seem to be completely relaxed about it. Well, this is what lions do now. I'm sorry that, Viam and I watched them from quite a while before you got to us, and that's simply because we just didn't have any signal down in the deep drainage line there. But I'm sorry that you didn't get to see them moving around a bit more. I think they will probably remain where they are now for the rest of the day. Hello, Crazy Critter. It's a nice Twitter handle. You say, will the darker mane make a difference to their, excuse me, to their mating success? Yes, absolutely it will. Simply because they have more testosterone and therefore they're more willing to fight for the opportunity to mate. They tend to be more, I hate to use the term aggressive, but yeah, they do tend to be more aggressive with each other. We'll try and go a little bit closer now. Just now that they seem to have settled down, I'm sure we can get in a little bit closer, have a look at both of them. We'll just do a little twist around here, try not to make too much noise. Christy, you want to know if I think they will hurt Junior? No, I don't think they would. I think they'd recognize him as their own offspring. It's not unusual for very old male lions to set up kind of a coalition with younger lions. These guys are without a territory. Their son is without a territory. Their son might want a territory. And so, you know, it's not entirely unlikely or impossible that they should form a coalition with him. We don't really want that to happen in this area, because as we know, the Birminghams have set themselves up, they've got cubs, and we don't want that whole process to be sort of undone. Now they're acting like the Matimbas we know, which is basically to just look magnificent and not do very much. Drive straight at them, but we'll just do it slowly. How's that for you, Ben?
They're just behind your head.
Is that right? Yeah, he's giving us the hairy eyeball, I tell you. Now, they say you shouldn't look a lion in the eye. Well, I'm looking him straight in the eye now. Now, Sally, you're in Oregon and you say you've never seen them before. You're a newcomer and you say you can definitely see the difference. Yeah, it is amazing. Yeah, they're watching, eyes open. In? Nyam. Ile phakathi enkoveni le. Ile khule, about 250 meters. Yeah, ile khule. Mara lokhu utavona minkonzo ya mo mingena le power line mitayikuma easy ingena le. Yeah. Just quickly giving him an indication as to where the kill is. And a question about whether another rumble in the jungle could be in the offing. Could we see another sort of counter territory takeover? And that's Sean who's wondering that. Sean, I think it's highly unlikely. I don't know why they would have left. And of course the Birminghams now are established. They're bigger, certainly, than they were when they took over the territory. These two guys actually didn't, I'm not sure that they ever set sight on the Birminghams. They heard them calling and they got up one morning, almost exactly a year ago, and disappeared. So I don't think that the two of them would take on the four Birminghams, no. There's something about those eyes, though, that is slightly unnerving, and that's simply because they're unusually open. Male lion's eyes, normally when we watched these two before, you'd just find them fast asleep. Those eyes would not be looking at us. They'd be fast asleep. And I'm pretty sure that that will be the case again. Just moving very slowly in my seat. You can just see him flicking his tail a little bit. What's she saying?
No, getting cell phone interference.
I'm afraid it's not my phone. I'm sure it was from the other vehicle. Yeah. Now he seems to be going to sleep. But there was just a little bit of tail flicking, and there are no flies around at the moment. And of course a lion, in exactly the same way as a house cat will flick its tail when it's about to attack something. Now he's not about to attack, but he's still watching us very carefully. Very unusual. Very indicative of a lion that's been threatened by the lack of a territory. Now, Sale, very valid question, how old are they? Well, as far as I was aware, they were 10 about a year ago, so they must be about 11 now. They look like about 10 or 11-year-old male lions. So I would go with about 10. There were 4 of them, and they took over the territory as 4, and then 2 of them sort of skedaddled off into Kruger and north of the Manuleti, and they split up their territory, and it's sort of since been, separated, if you like, by the territory of the Salati males in Buffelshoek, and they didn't come together again. And this is, of course, I think, why the tenure out here was never that great. The Majingaland coalition, who've been the dominant western coalition of the Sabi Sands now, I think, for about 4 years, have always come together when there's trouble. As soon as there's, they have split up every so often, and they kind of keep 2 to one side and 2 to the other. But when there's trouble, they all come together, and that did not happen in the case of the Matimbas. Now they are sleeping soundly. Margaret, you want to know if that's dirt or ticks on his belly? I think it's flies, actually. Let me just get my binoculars out. Just flies, Margaret. At this stage, I'm sure there are 1 or 2 ticks there, especially in that thick mat of hair that he has down by the fat end of his belly. I say they're in good condition, which they are, but they're also very fat after eating their buffalo. I'm just so interested as to why they would have left it, why they've moved away. Oh, and VM, we can probably get quite a good view there of his, not his belly so much, but his wound on the other foot. You see it there? There you can see that wound, everyone, that has been there forever and ever. As far as I'm aware, I've never seen him without it.
You think you've actually lost his dew claw? Because that was the...
That may well be the case, yeah, actually. Good point. He probably has lost his dew claw. Now, the dew claw is the 5th claw. Where your thumb would be, they have something called a dew claw. Very important for hunting, normally. It's the kind of it's the clincher. And grab your house cat or your dog and just feel a little bit up towards the carpal joints or towards the wrist joint, and you will feel where that dew claw pops out just below there. Fascinating. Sally, another one from you. Thank you for your question. You say, do lions breathe so heavily all the time? No, they don't, but they always breathe that heavily when they are full. These guys are full of buffalo meat. We were unable to get into a position where we could show you the buffalo and still maintain signal, I'm afraid. But they've eaten a huge amount of a young buffalo. and that's why they're panting. The stomach is full. They pant to oxygenate the blood around the stomach to make the digestion a bit faster. But they're not panting in the same way. I mean, many lions will be, with their bellies as full as these guys are. I'm not sure whether... I know that there are 2 Birmingham males on Torchwood today. I don't know where the other 2 are. It's quite interesting. The day has warmed up rather magnificently. And Chris, you're in South Australia and you want to know if the Majingalan males are older than the Matimbas. Chris, no, I don't. I think that those Majingalans are 12 years old. So I think they're probably a year or 2 older than these chaps. They might be a quite similar age, but because they've managed to hold their coalition together, so they've managed to maintain territory for longer. They've also been seemingly more willing to fight. Although, I say this, I cast aspersions on our lions, and I cast aspersions on their courage. But these guys did actually repel an attack from the Majingalan the other day. The Majingalan came to Londolozi to try and chase these chaps off, and they left. I don't think there was a physical confrontation. I've got myself into a bad position here because I can't look at the lions and you at the same time.
Move a little bit forward.
Move the car forward?
Yeah.
I can try. But if he chases us, it's going to be your fault, okay? You're recording? Especially as Wendy is about as quiet and subtle as a charging bull. Eyes? Sorry, we are in a very dodgy signal area here, everyone. Now, Bud, you're in North Carolina, and you ask an interesting question that is going to, of course, affect all the animals out here. Is there a chance that the that the drier weather, the drought, will bring in bigger lions? No, Bud, there's no chance of that, I don't think. I mean, any bigger lions that are going to come into the area are going to do so regardless of any drought. You're going to find, I think, that there will be a period of stability because of the drought. Herbivores are going to struggle, which means there's going to be lots for lions and leopards and hyenas and cheetah to eat, and that means that they're not going to be wandering further afield to try and extend their territories because there will be no necessity for that. So I think that you find as the drought persists, so the stability within the predator numbers will be almost absolute. Just going to take my jersey off, so you may hear a little bit of ruffling. Yeah, now you see, Paige, I was just thinking the same thing. You're in Tennessee, and I don't know if you're right or not, but you say, could they have moved away from the kill because of the chances of other males pitching up there? Yeah, it's possible. Definitely, I think it's very odd. It's not unusual for lions to move a little bit away from their kills, especially if they want to have a good solid snooze like these two are going to have. But I don't know that it's... I mean, I don't think that they would consciously have thought that there was another, other male lions in the area, unless maybe there was some roaring around here last night. Maybe it's possible that there was roaring from the other 2 Birminghams around here last night. They're on kind of a fringe area. Now, the Birminghams do come this far, but they're almost on the western border of the Birmingham territory and almost into Matimba, at least Majingaland territory. Majingalands have a massive, massive area, and that's how these guys have managed to kind of stay under the radar between the two coalition territories. But this is much more like the Matimbas I knew. While they're incredibly magnificent when they're standing up, normally they're doing what they're doing here. We're going to sit here for a few more minutes, but while we sit here, let's go and find out what Brent's been up to. Hairy Belly and Ginger are up to not much, to be honest. They're just sitting here doing nothing at all, which is, if you're the king of the jungle, then that's what you're able to do. Although these chaps, of course, kings without a throne at the moment. They've just woken up because Roy is just repositioning so his guests can get a picture of Ginger here. There you can hear, I don't know if you heard his guest there saying that Ginger is more red. And absolutely, that's why you all called him Ginger. And the black mane, of course, named for that bit of hair on his belly. Hairy belly. Bit like me, Viam. I've got a hairy belly. Have you?
No, I'm a more ginger.
You're more like Ginger. And you have a slightly ginger beard.
Exactly. Although I still got all my dew claws.
Yes, you've got both your dew claws. And Chris Rogue, you make another point, of course, which I'd forgotten about, that Hairy Belly has got a twitchy face. He does, doesn't he? I haven't seen him doing it today, but he has. Did you? So Viam says he's seen it. Chris Rogue, let me just move slightly forward. We might be able to see Hairy Belly's twitchy face. Say when, Viampi. That is a magnificent shot. Isn't that great? Wonderful to see a lion like this. He's just looking towards the other vehicle. Brilliant stuff. I'll try and get a shot of him, Viam. I bet by the time I've managed to organise myself sufficiently, he'll have lying down. Come on, look at me. That's it. Ooh. Full on his eyes. He's a rather splendid fellow, isn't he? And thank you all for your screenshots. Well worth it for a lion like this, aren't they? Fantastic lion he is. He really is, and he's not, I don't even think that he's the most magnificent of the two of them. Just quietly taking in the scene around him. certainly those heavy eyes are about to shut again. Nope, he's up. Wow, action there. Yeah, and you know, we talk about the effect that we have on animals. That there was, I'm afraid, him moving from disturbance. There was no reason for him to move other than the fact that he had two vehicles around him. And that means that their behavior has definitely changed. Because they certainly wouldn't have worried in the slightest when we knew them before. Wouldn't you say, Viam? You think it's unusual that they're moving?
Yes. Lions usually don't move at all.
No, they don't. They're like the Sphinx, exactly. And I suppose many of you, just like Aaron, are seeing these chaps for the first time. And Chris Rogue, there you can see the odd facial twitch from our friend, hairy belly Matimba. That might be because his brother's tail is tickling him in the nose. In fact, that's exactly why. I'll just wait for Roy to move out, and then we can move around a bit. I'm not going to... I think I'm going to reverse back a bit. I'll just go forward, basically, to where Roy was. So, Aaron, yeah, first time to see the legendary Matimba males. And, of course, as you say, all of our new viewers will be amazed by the first sighting of them because they've heard so much about the legends of the Matimbas. I'm not sure those legends are necessarily that well-founded, given how easily they were displaced from their territories. But in terms of poster boys, well, you don't get much more magnificently posterish than these fellows. Let's go around the corner here. Right, while we do this, let's go and find out what Brent's doing and see if his tracking is